little different today. Disposable e-cigarette. Did you hear that sound? That was half the viewers out there running away in terror. Seriously though, folks, stick around for this. Fling Wide Mini by White Cloud. This is a pretty good one. Check it out. Back to another YouTube review. Thanks for swinging by. Just on another side note, complete tangent here, I'm over 100 subscribers. Yay! Thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and I do appreciate the support. God, why can't I talk today? Anyway, about a week or so ago, I reached out to White Cloud e-cigarette company. They make a whole bunch of things, 3-4 different types of disposables. They do make some cigarette products. I saw some reviews for the Fling Wide Minis, and I reached out to them and said, hey, I'd be interested in doing the reviews on this. I'm, trying to kind of hit the that side of the market with my reviews. I know a lot of people who get into vaping do this by going to convenience stores, gas stations, petrol stations if you're in the UK, and that's their first experience with this type of product. So I sent them an email on their contact form and said, hey, I'd be interested in doing this if you're willing to send me anything. If not, no big deal, no hard feelings. I've only got 100 subscribers, and I realize that you guys are looking for a little bit more visibility. Anyway, a guy by the name of Steve Miller, awesome name by the way, contacted me back and said, hey, yeah, we'd be perfectly happy for you to go ahead and review some of our products. Just let me know what your address is, what nicotine flavor or strength rather that you want. And what kind of flavors you're into. I told him, I'm more or less a tobacco guy, but I'm willing to review anything. Just keep the nicotine low, because I generally don't vape nicotine at all. So, anyway, he sends me a UPS package, and today, I got it in. And he sent me 6 of these Fling Wide Minis, and just, a little bit of a preview here. I've cracked them open. I do dig them. And before we get any further, please ignore this horribly gone wrong razor bump. Anyway, in the package, get the Fling Wide Minis there. We'll get to that in just a second. And Steve himself sent me an invoice and personal letter. Said, James, I just wanted to say thank you for agreeing to review the new Fling Wide Mini from White Cloud. The Fling Wide Mini was born out of a desire to create a disposable e-cigarette with superior flavor, abundant vapor, and long life. With a combination of a 450 milliamp hour battery and 2 mils of e-liquid, the Fling Wide Mini delivers the most value of any disposable available. The oval design is inspired by frustration caused by traditionally styled disposables rolling away when you set them down. I think any of us can relate to that if we ever used any type of cigarette in the past. We believe that the Fling Wide Mini provides a superior mouth-along hit that will be appealing to smokers looking to make the change from smoking to vaping. The Fling Wide Mini is available in over 15 flavors, 6 different nicotine strengths. If you have any questions about the Fling Wide Mini or the White Cloud electronic cigarettes, please don't hesitate to ask. Thanks, Steve Miller. Contact information. Again, cool name, Steve Miller. They set me up an account. They sent me these out free of charge completely, so these products were sent to me free of charge by White Cloud e-cigarettes, specifically by Steve Miller for the purpose of this review. That being said, it won't affect my impressions on the product for the purpose of this review. I just want to get information out there because I know that a lot of folks who get into vaping are going to do this with seeing stuff in convenience stores. A lot of folks don't know people who vape. A lot of folks don't have resources. They don't know where a vape shop even is. They don't know online resources. These are the guys who go to the local BP or whatever and see e-cigarette and like, that might get me off of that. I'll try it. That's where these things really come into their own. So what do you get? Nothing to it. It's not going to look like that when you get it. But the Fling Wide Mini comes in like a little cellophane wrap package. Got a tear-off top. You got some warnings and etc. on the back. If you are so inclined, you can by all means pause the video. They all say the same thing. I do like on their ingredients list, they say propylene glycol, glycerol, VG, flavorings, obviously, and nicotine. And the nicotine has a little asterisk, absent and nicotine-free products. So if you get a nicotine-free Fling Wide Mini, you've got 1, 2, 3. Ingredients. So, you rip it open, as I've already done, and you get one of these. Now, it's been said that these might look like a little bit like a pregnancy test or whatever, but I mean, these things are tiny. They are oval shaped. And it's a traditional cig-alike. There's no button. You draw in on this end lights up, vapor comes out. That's it. 450 milliamp hour battery, which is pretty substantial for a disposable product, and 2 mils of e-liquid, which is a tremendous amount for a disposable product. So how do they work? Like that. They actually produce a pretty decent amount of vapor. Today's just going to be a bit of a first look because obviously I don't know how long these things last. I just got them today, and I'm going to give you my impressions as to how they work, how they feel, how they hit, and basically what the flavors are of what they sent me. And as of yet, I'm pretty impressed. So let's start with the one that I'm probably least inclined to like, and that is their menthol. It is a menthol tobacco flavor, and they sent me the ultralight strength, which is 0.8% or 8 milligrams. Typically when I vape, I don't go above about 3 milligrams, but I'm vaping on something like this. Timed out. I'm vaping on something like this that is running sub-ohm. I mean, this is technically sub-ohm. It's a 0.9 ohm coil, but I'm pushing 35 watts through it. And at 3 milligrams, even 3 milligrams rather, would nick me out on that. This is 8 milligrams strength, but because it's a cig-alike, and I'm not getting anywhere near the vapor production, it's not going to do that to me. I've hit on this for a while, and it hasn't really nicked me out. I'm actually pretty impressed. And it makes sense if you consider things like the Views, the Blue, all these other disposable products that are out there. Most of those are sitting around 2% or 20 milligrams to 25 milligrams. You get something like the Enjoy Daily, which is insane at 45 milligrams, or the Jewel Pods, I believe those are also 45 milligrams with their nicotine salts. Those have extremely high nicotine content because it's a nicotine delivery system that has to deliver that nicotine through the little bit of vapor that these produces. So I'm going to go into detail about this one, and then I'm going to hit into the flavor of this one and all the other ones. Not a whole lot to it, folks. I mean, this is just a little oval plastic guy. It's presumably got the battery right about there. Got this little silicone chewy guy. So if you like to dangle this out of your mouth, you can do that. Works perfectly fine. This is one of the more comfortable cig-alikes, disposable or not, that I've ever used. And it just works great. And this is kind of glued in, but if you take it apart, it's held in with a little bit of silicone. If you look inside of there, that looks familiar. It is a giant cartomizer, and I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see it in there, but there is a little teeny tiny coil going kind of diagonally across the camera right now. And that is it. That is the meat and potatoes of this thing. That is what makes the vapor, and it sucks it out of all that cotton, and it is cotton, that is packed in there. That's it. No buttons, no clicking. You draw on it, and it produces vapor. And these actually produce a fairly decent amount of vapor. I'm impressed with this thing for what it is. I mean, you just take a small drag off of this, and it's producing an amount of vapor very analogous to something that you would see in a cigarette. You can also slipstream these and pull off to the side, pull a little bit of air into your mouth as you're vaping. You get a halfway decent direct along hit. I'm not going to do that because this 8 milligrams of nicotine is going to nick me out pretty quick. So not a whole lot else to talk about in the functionality, the mechanics. I'm going to go around with one of these one day, probably the tobacco one, and just go all day on it. I'm going to use it and use nothing but it just to see if it does it for me, if it kills those cravings. Because for me, the craving is all up here. It's not a nicotine addiction anymore. It's fixation. And so far, though, playing around with these for the last couple hours, it seems like it's doing it. And yeah, not a whole lot else to it. Functionally, it's one of the better disposables out there, maybe the best. They do have another product. Fling has their Fling Wide, which is a bigger version of this. This has a 450 milliamp hour battery. The Fling Wide is about that big. It holds 50% more juice. I think it's 3 milliliter capacity, and it's got like a 550 or 600 milliamp hour battery. It lasts longer. The goal of this thing is for the battery to burn out as you're running out of juice. If it's like most other disposables, though, you're going to have a little extra battery life once the juice runs dry. And because these things are so easy to take apart, I'm probably going to put some of my own juice in there and see how it works with that as well. Anyway, let's get on to the flavors and stop rambling about that. First one up is the menthol. It's a menthol tobacco flavor, and it is what it says it is. It's the menthol is definitely a menthol. It's not a minty. I mean, it's got a little minty undertone to it, but it's got the menthol kick to it. So you're not getting a spearmint tobacco or anything like that. This is no kidding menthol. And the tobacco is definitely artificially flavored. I mean, all of these are going to be. I'm trying to place it. It might be a burley or a Virginia or a blend of the two. Not unpleasant. I'm not a menthol guy, but you know, as far as menthol goes, this is pretty decent. Yeah, the menthol's not overpowering. It's not drowning out the tobacco. You can still taste the tobacco in this, and that's a very important thing if you're getting a menthol tobacco. So, yeah, that would be the menthol tobacco flavor by Fling Wide Mini, or by White Cloud. And let's move on to a similar flavor, 0K. This is their Oh My God menthol flavor. This is, yeah, it's got the same information on the back of the package, so I'm not going to get into any of that. And this guy is identical, other than the fact that it lists as a different product, 0K, ultra light. The ultra light also is 0.8 milligrams. Some of them say a percentage, some of them just say light, ultra light, whatever. Not sure which direction they're going in that, or if they're going in a direction. Now, right out of the package, when you open this, it smells like a stick of gum. It's really strong, really powerful, and I can pick up some menthol in it. So this is a menthol minty type of mix. And one thing I'll say for this will kill some vapor's tongue, and it'll kill it quick. Yeah, this thing's really powerful mint and menthol. No tobacco, nothing else, just straight up minty menthol taste. Nothing else to this. If that's what you're after, definitely a good way to go. Vapor production is pretty good. All these are mouth-to-lung hits that I'm doing. And again, you can slipstream it. And get a pretty respectable direct-to-lung, but it's a little harsher on the throat. I would imagine this is probably no more than about a 50-50 PG-VG, just based on the vapor production. But yeah, you like menthol, this is definitely a way to go. Really strong. They sent me a few other flavors. And something I didn't expect, espresso. I used to drink a lot of coffee in the Navy, kind of got burnt out on it, and they sent me this, same strength, and it definitely has that coffee bean aroma to it. And let's see what it's all about. This is a very dark coffee flavor. It is nothing else. No hazelnut, nothing like this. It might have a little nutty undertone to it, but coffee itself has a slight nutty undertone. They didn't add any other flavors to it. This is just a straight up espresso, or I get more of just a straight up coffee flavor. It's hard to kind of differentiate those if you're flavoring something like that. If you've ever had a tiramisu, it tastes similar to the coffee, to the espresso that's actually in the tiramisu. It's got a slightly sweet undertone to it. That's probably because of the glycerin that's in this, the VG. And like I said, I'm pretty well a one-dimensional vapor. You know, tobacco is my thing, but this is not an unpleasant flavor at all. I mean, it's a pretty good coffee, and I could see myself doing this in the morning. You know, get up in the morning, instead of having a cup of coffee. I've kind of gotten away from that. This might not be a bad alternative. If you vape and you like coffee, it's probably not a bad way to go. That was espresso. They sent me Sin. This is their cinnamon flavored, and it is straight up nothing else but a cinnamon flavor. And I came into this, and I opened the packet, and it smelled kind of like a Red Hot. I mean, you know, those little packets of candies. I'm not sure what they call them in the UK or overseas, but they're like little tiny dots, about that big. You get them in a box, and they've got a really powerful cinnamon flavor to them. And when I ripped the packet open, it just, boom, it hit my face. It was really powerful. So I expected that kind of flavor out of this. And I was pleasantly surprised that it wasn't quite that. This has a little bit more throat hit than all the other ones. And that makes sense because you're getting cinnamon in this. But it's not a super hot cinnamon. It's not the super spicy cinnamon like you get in a Red Hot. This tastes like a stick of Big Red gum. I'm not sure, again, if they have Big Red overseas in the UK or whatnot, but it's a cinnamon gum flavor to it. And it's actually very pleasant. I like Big Red. It's just something I can't chew a whole lot of because it tears up the inside of my mouth. The cinnamon just is too much. This doesn't do that. It's a very light, refreshing cinnamon. It's not a bakery cinnamon. This isn't the kind of cinnamon that you're going to get out of a cinnamon roll or anything like that. This is a straight up hot, spicy cinnamon, but it's toned down quite a bit. Really, really refreshing. And this is pretty interesting. And surprisingly, I like it quite a bit. Next, they sent me something called Copper Kettle. And this is their smooth milk caramel. So I pulled this out, and it smells like caramel out of the package. Yeah, it smells like one of the little chewy caramel candies, and I expected it to taste like that. And got a little pleasant surprise at the end of it too. This, of all of these, has the least throat hit. It is very, very smooth. You definitely get a strong caramel flavor to this, but what you get in the background is a little bit of a popcorn flavor. Very interesting, and it works very well. It's, if I had to quantify it in percentages, 90% caramel, 10% of that popcorn flavor. So yeah, it's really pleasant, and it reminds me a little bit of like your Crunch and Munch, Cracker Jack, that type of thing. Kind of a one of those treats you might get at your local fair when it comes through town. You know, the little popcorn balls, something like that. Not quite as popcorny though. I like this one quite a bit, and I'm surprised how much I actually like this. Not too much into caramel vapes, you know, RY4, you know, I can do it or not. You know, I prefer a straight tobacco. But yeah, I really, really do dig this. If you're at all into caramel or any type of candy type vapes, you owe it to yourself to try this. This is just right up. I mean, the flavor's on point. And of the ones they sent me, regular, I saved for last. This is their straight up, everyday, normal tobacco flavor. This is their rich tobacco flavor. This is the only tobacco other than the menthol that that Steve sent me. And yeah, it smells like a tobacco. Kind of leafy, a little bit earthy. And yeah, let's see what it's all about. It's a little sweeter than I would expect a tobacco to be. Again, it's not a naturally extracted. This is a artificially flavored tobacco. What it really reminds me of is getting a pack of Marlboros, opening it up, and taking a sniff. I always love doing that with a fresh pack of cigarettes. And you can tell if it's been sitting on the store shelf for 2, 3, 4 weeks, or if it's something that just got to the store. This smells very much like a very, very fresh pack of cigarettes. And it translates that to the flavor as well. It's pretty pleasant. A little sweet. Again, I think that's the glycerin. As far as tobaccos go, it's a little bit on the more grassy, hay type side. You know, anyone who vapes on tobaccos, you know what I'm talking about. It leans a little bit more towards that. And they call this a rich tobacco. I don't know how rich it is. It's definitely good. I wouldn't categorize it as a particularly bold tobacco or anything like that. I mean, it's pretty much straight middle of the line. It's a good American USA tobacco. There you go. I'm getting more of a Virginia golden tobacco off of this. It's a little sweeter, grassier type flavor than, say, a Burley or anything like that. Very pleasant. I was hoping Steve would have sent me a couple of other tobacco flavors to try, because I mean that's kind of my thing, and I'm probably going to pick some up. But Steve, if you're listening, if you get this review and you're listening, I'd love to review your Apache, Cavendish, or any of the other tobaccos that you have. I certainly would love to hit those up. I'm probably going to be ordering some more of these. I'm going to see if they offer them in singles, and I'll see about ordering a couple of different tobacco flavors and giving those a run. I'm probably going to take this one, the tobacco, just because I'm a tobacco guy, and I'm going to run through the day with it, and I'll do a follow-up review once I've killed the battery, and then I'll top off the cartomizer section of this and see what happens with it, and see how much life I can actually get out of the battery versus the juice, or if the juice expires after the battery. You know, nothing I can do about that. You can't recharge these. If it's like any other disposable, though, I imagine the battery is going to die after the juice runs out, so I will be able to top it off with my own liquids. Not a whole lot else to say about that here. Again, big thumbs up and thank you to Steve Miller over at White Cloud Cigs. He hooked me up with these free of charge, did not question me at all, did not ask anything other than my address and what flavors and nicotine strength that I wanted. So awesome, good customer service there, and the guy was quick to get back to my email that I sent out to him. I'm going to respond to an email once, or send a response email to him once I get this video up and running. And yeah, nothing else to say about these. Good products. I mean, as far as disposable e-cigarettes go, by far the best ones on the market that I have ever tried. Nothing else even comes close compared to Blue. Again, I can't speak to battery life, but the flavors are just spot on. The vapor production is gobs better, and from what I understand about these, the battery life is going to be a lot better. The prices on these range at about $8. It depends on how many you buy, but they range from $8 down, depending on how much bulk you buy these in. I'll provide links below to White Cloud's site, to their Fling Wide Mini, and I'll also provide a link to the Fling Wide products, which is this, just with more stuff in it. Again, thanks White Cloud Sig, thank you Steve Miller, and remember, and this is going to be a little bit of a side note here, August 8th has come and gone. FDA deeming regulations are in place. We still got to fight for our right to vape. We got to support HR 2058, Cole Bishop Amendment. You've got to talk to your legislation and to your representatives. Let them know that this is important to you. Also, I'm going to post a link below to a bunch of videos. A bunch of YouTube reviewers are getting in on this because Rip Trippers, you may have heard of them, started a generosity account to fund the American Vaping Association, and their advocate, who is going to go around and lobby for us. He's raising money. I've donated to it, and I urge you guys to donate. And what this is going to do is it's going to go straight to the American Vaping Association. RIP doesn't see 1 cent of this, and it's going to help pay for the cost of flying him out to all the states to talk to our legislators, to our lawmakers, to our representatives. It's going to pay for his hotels. It's going to pay for his cost of living. It's going to pay his way while he's doing this and fighting this over the next couple of years. They've got a fair amount of money raised, but it's not enough. It's not enough. I urge you, I urge you, I urge you. If you can afford one of these, if you can afford to vape, if you can afford to buy juice for one of these, you can afford to donate. If you vape, if you are buying vaping products, you can afford to donate. If you can afford $1,000, great, donate it. I'm not asking you to donate $1,000. If all you can afford is $1, that is 1/10 of the cost of one bottle of house brewed e-liquid from your local shop. If that's all you can afford, that's $1. And if every one of my subscribers did that, that would be $105 given to this. If every one of Rip Tripper's subscribers did that, that would be over $700,000. That's the power of $1. We've got to do this. We've got to support it. If you can afford $1, if you can afford $5, go ahead and give it. Forego one bottle of house e-liquid this month and give $5 or $10. And it's going to go a long, long, long ways to making sure that we can keep things like this and this available and on the market past August 7th, 2018. Because on August 8th, as it is right now, this stuff goes away. So I'll get off my soapbox with that. Support vaping, fight for our rights, and do what you got to do. Because if we don't fight for ourselves, nobody else out there will. The FDA, big tobacco, big pharma. They want what they want. And they're going to get it if we don't fight for it. So anyway, vape on, vape strong, and yeah, great disposable product, guys. If you're at all into disposables, even for a convenience item, worth considering. Vape on, guys.